Hello guys, today I will be doing more Ever After High redesigns. This is a part 2, so if you haven't seen part 1 with Raven and Apple, feel free to go check that out first. Anyways, on to the redesigns. First up, we have Briar. By the way, when I was making this video, I found this old Ever After High book I had laying around. It was the closest I ever got to reading the actual books as a really little kid, because I was always more of a just look at the pictures kind of kid. But later, when I was 12, and actually into reading, I did read the Ever After High X Monster High crossover book. Honestly, it was pretty underwhelming for a crossover, from what I remember at least. Anyways, I'll be using this book to reference the original designs and to get design ideas from the character bios. For Briar, I really wanted to lean into her party girl energy, even though, as we see later in the series, she has more depth to her than just that. But either way, I think she would still dress very nice and fancy, since she likes to plan and attend parties. I gave her high boots and a dress that gave her form, but that wouldn't be too tight so she could still dance. I also leaned heavily into the rose theme for her outfit, because she is Briar Beauty after all. In her bio, it states that she's into extreme sports, so I debated on giving her something more athletic, but ultimately decided that wouldn't suit her. In the show, I think Briar had one of the more interesting plot lines and arcs. Having to come to terms with the fact that your destiny is to be put asleep for 100 years, and to wake up and lose everything. Your parents and friends will be dead by then. The entire world will be totally different. The world might be unrecognizable by the time you wake up. The more you think about it, more the darker it gets. At first, Briar's destiny is painted as not a bad thing because she's a royal and a princess. But I think she definitely has one of the worst destinies. Not the worst, but it's up there. Briar was never one of my favorite characters, nor did I ever own any of her dolls, but I do find her story very intriguing. I also like her design here, but it's not my favorite design in this video. Also, as you'll see later, I messed up on the background because I picked a pink color that's really similar to the highlights in her hair. So her highlights get kinda blended into the background, but I'm too tired to change it right now. Overall, I think that's all I have to say about Briar. The reveal. Again, I think the design isn't bad, but it's not my favorite. Up next is Maddie, daughter of the Mad Hatter. Now, Maddie was one of my favorite characters. I really loved Pinkie Pie type characters as a kid. So I was excited to do this redesign. Since Maddie likes tea parties and even has a pet mouse named Earl Grey, I was thinking maybe I should give her a EGL outfit. Since going to tea parties is a big part of EGL fashion culture, and also it can be a very bright, fun fashion that fits Maddie perfectly. But then I decided to put her in OG fashion instead, which is like the brother, masculine version of EGL fashion. Maddie gives off the vibes that she moves around a lot, so I thought putting her in bloomers would be more fitting and allow her to move more. I also just wanted to try out designing an OG outfit. I also gave her a big top hat since she is the daughter of the Mad Hatter. Honestly, I don't know why her original outfit didn't contain a hat at all. Not even a small one. Kinda weird actually. Looking back at her original design, that was definitely something that surprised me. I also added more gold into her design instead of having it as an accent color. I just thought it would be more fun rather than having just plain white being a major color in her design. I also made her hair more pastel because I thought it would look better. And there are a lot of patches and mismatch patterns in her outfit to kinda capture the randomness and oddity of her character. I really love her socks, even if you can't see the striped one that well because the purple is too pale. I should have went over it a couple of times. Maybe I'll go back and do that later. I also love how swirly I made her hair. I think out of all the drawings I drew in this video, she has the best pose. Even if it isn't much, yeah, I need to do more pose practice. Every time I'm drawing, I usually be blanking out on the poses, and I come up with something mediocre. Posing isn't really my strong suit. Anyways, overall, I think Maddie has my favorite design out of the batch of redesigns today, even if the background is questionable. Next up is Ashlyn Ella, daughter of Cinderella. As a kid, I didn't care for Ashlyn that much. I still kinda don't. She just seemed kinda boring compared to other characters, and most of her screen time in the show seemed to revolve around her and her boyfriend, Hunter. I don't know. I just didn't really care. In fact, I don't really care too much about any of the ships in Ever After High. But according to her bio, she's an environmental girly, so I can appreciate that. I rewatched the Throne Coming special recently, but Ashlyn doesn't really play a big part in that special, so I don't remember too many details of her character except very basic stuff. So sorry to all the Ashlyn lovers out there. Anyways, for her redesign, I definitely leaned into a more cottagecore aesthetic. I thought it would suit her since she loves wildlife and is often going on dates with Hunter in the woods. I also tried to make her dress more modest compared to Apples and Briars and even gave it some rips and tears at the bottom. If she's outside a lot, there's no way her dress would stay perfectly clean and in perfect condition. I also think it fits since she's the daughter of Cinderella, a woman who married into royalty and had a tough upbringing under her wicked stepmother. So maybe Cinderella, even after marrying the prince, Cinderella was still a very modest woman. And maybe that rubbed off on Ashlyn. Anyways, I love the floral design I put on the dress and the braid in her hair. I also put a floral design in her boots too, because she is a shoe lover, so even if she doesn't care too much about her dress, she probably makes sure to still clean her boots often. I wish I had a better orange marker for her hair though. The one I used was almost dead and it caused her hair to look kinda patchy. Overall, I like Ashlyn's design here a lot even if I think her character is kinda boring. Also sorry since you've made it this far into the video, consider liking and subscribing if you want. On to the next redesign. Now we have Cedarwood, daughter of Pinocchio. I'm not going to lie, Cedar was probably the hardest to design. I had basically no ideas for her character. All I knew is I wanted her to be the shortest out of all the girls, since she is a puppet, technically. But yeah, Cedar and Ashlyn got to be the two most boring characters out of Ever After High. I'm sorry, but other than the always having to tell the truth thing, which don't get me wrong is a cool concept, what does Cedar got going for her? She's just boring, zero flavor. According to her bio, she likes painting. So as you'll see later, I added some paint splotches on her to kind of visually convey that. Painting is pretty messy. I also put some leaves in her hair, since she was carved from wood, and wood comes from trees, and trees have leaves on them. Yeah, I didn't really have that many ideas, okay? We're working with the bare minimum here. But one of the biggest differences between her concept sketch and her final version is I decided to make her hair a lighter shade of brown. Just so there would be a bit more contrast between her skin and her hair. I didn't mean to make her hair such a reddish brown though. But I actually really like it. It's a happy accident. With the shading on her leg though, I should have used a lighter color to shade over the paint splotch because it gets completely covered up after I shade that area. I also had so much fun drawing in the wood details of her skin. And can I just say, I absolutely love shading curly hair. It's just so much fun, and I finally figured out a way to shade curly hair that both looks good and is stylized. The background was a struggle through. I don't know why I picked a barf shade of green. And green is my favorite color, so I don't say that lightly. I feel like the green color could have looked cute, just not as a background color. Either way, it gets covered up with stamps and other details, so you barely notice it in the end. Overall, I actually like Cedar's design a lot, even though it is way too plain, especially compared to other designs in this video. Now we have Cerise Hood, the daughter of Red Riding Hood. Cerise was definitely another character I found interesting, since she was more tomboyish in nature compared to other characters, and since she had a secret that she was part wolf due to her mother, Red Riding Hood, marrying the big bad wolf. Which is kinda weird if you think about it deeply, but I'm not judging too much. Anyways, for Cerise's design, I decided to lean into a more tomboy look. Which I'm not going to lie, I struggled with a bit since I'm not that good at drawing masculine fashion styles. I also gave her pants because she likes running, and it's probably better to run in pants rather than a dress. A change I made from the concept sketch though, was changing her pants from tan to green, just because I thought that would look better. I also added some chains on her boots and at the bottom of her corset for more visual interest. Now that I'm looking back on her design, I wish I would have added black into her outfit. I feel like it would have made her feel more like Cerise, but I remember not wanting to put a lot of black in her design since I didn't want her to look emo and she's already wearing a hood. But I went too far by adding 0 black and Cerise do be acting kinda emo. I kept the white stripe in her hair and even made the underside of her hair white as well to make her hair more interesting. Oh yeah, and the even bigger change is I made her hair short and gave her side bangs because I thought they would suit her more. You can see it better in the headshot at the bottom of the page. I also made her eye color green to go nicely with her pants. Oh yeah, and I made her hood shorter so it wouldn't be in the way while she is running. Overall, I don't think I did a totally good job redesigning Cerise, but it's not totally horrendous. But what do you guys think? Now we have Blondie Locks, daughter of Goldilocks. I didn't really care much for Blondie's character as a kid, but I had her doll and thought she was such a beautiful doll. But my Blondie Locks doll has been through some things now. Don't ask me how she got so jacked up, honestly I have no idea. For her design though, I wanted her to look professional like a reporter because she runs the Mirror Cast show and is always looking for a good scoop. And because she really wants to be perceived as a royal. So I tried giving her a very classy outfit. I really love the fur trimming on her dress and for her hair. I originally gave her a beret, but I opted to give her 2 buns instead to imitate barriers. I also gave her a cute bear bag so she could always carry around her filming equipment. I think that's one of my favorite parts of her design. Also, for her hair, I gave her some regal ringlets. Because she is the daughter of Goldilocks, I thought her hair should be especially interesting and beautiful. And honestly, regal ringlets is one of my favorite hairstyles to draw. I kept Blondie's bangs the same since I didn't see anything wrong with them. I kinda messed up on the hand holding the microphone, so it looks a bit deformed, just don't stare at it too closely. and we can pretend it looks good. Oh yeah, another change I made from the concept was I made the browns in her design darker, and I turned her tights white in order to create more contrast. Contrast is something I think about a lot more in my art these days that I didn't think a lot about in the past. I think it really helps with clarity in your art. I really also love shading with blue these days, where, as in the past, I just shaded with a darker color of the colors already there. For example, in the past, I would have shaded Blondie's hair with a darker shade of yellow, or I would have shaded the brown in her design with a darker brown or black. Now I just shade everything with blue or purple. I find it easier since I don't have to find like 50 different markers to shade with, and I find it helps kinda unify a piece together to just shade with one color. Anyways, I overall really like Blondie's redesign. I think it's one of my favorites right next to Maddie. Lastly, we have C, a Cupid, daughter of a rose. I remember liking Cupid well enough. She likes helping others with love advice and was a transfer student from Monster High, confirming that Monster High and Ever After High exist in the same universe. So she was definitely one of the more interesting characters. Also, my sister had her doll, and she was definitely one of the most beautiful dolls. I remember. Her lip makeup especially was beautiful. For Cupid's design, of course, I had to keep her pink. I also wanted her outfit to be super light and flowy. Because when I think of Cupids, I think of flying and soaring through the clouds with an arrow in hand. And it's probably hard to fly if you're wearing something heavy. I think my favorite thing about her design, though, is the cute corset with the heart in the center. I just think it's so cute. Also, I changed her eye color to purple, just cause there was so many characters with blue eyes in the original. I thought there should be more variety. And probably the biggest change is that I made her hair white with pink tips. It was kinda a last-minute, impulsive change where I felt like her design needed a bit more variation. And white, and I think it's so cute. Also, in the end you'll see that I turned the lace on her corset and sleeves dark red. I tried giving her a bow and arrow, but I'll admit it doesn't look that good. I'm not the best at prop design, but she is a Cupid, so I thought I should include it somewhere. Also, the background I drew here has to be one of the worst. I ran out of individual pieces of paper to draw on, so I had to draw Cupid and Blondie in my small sketchbook, so I had more background space behind them, making it harder to come up with good backgrounds. Anyways, I really love the design I did for Cupid, even if it's not my favorite. We've made it to the end of the video. Thank you so much for watching this far. This is probably the longest video I've made so far, and it took me a while to get it done, so I would really appreciate if you'd like the video. I don't know if I'll make a long video like this again for a while though, because it really slows down my phone a lot, and honestly I'm afraid of my phone crashing. Anyways, I want to thank my subscribers for sticking around, and I hope you enjoyed the video. Tell me down below, which design was your favorite? See ya next time. Bye bye.